when boomer sim racers are living in the past, playing old simulators, us true gamers are trying out new revolutionary simulators. Assalamu alaikum habibis, and we're here to talk about Rennsport. What the fuck? What? Oh shit! Oh! Wait, I've seen that before! Chris, do you remember that? Oh! Now, Rennsport is a game that we jokingly said will save sim racing, and obviously it didn't. But to truly understand the depth of the failure of this game, we need to go back and look at the history, because when you play Rennsport, it actually is not as bad as PMR, for example. The problem is that nobody cares for Rennsport, and there are good reasons for that. They announced Rennsport in April of 2022, with the sole focus of making a competitive esports scene for sim racers. And goddamn, that was their sole focus, because nobody could even play that game before they even announced their first big esport tournament with insanely big prize money. And the closed beta did not even launch until middle of 2023, and the big esport tournament launched in February of the same year. So nobody could even try and get into that esport tournament. It was solely reserved for big esports organizations, and no one else could play it. So basically they hosted the biggest tournament only for esports teams, with hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line before anyone could even play the game. Man, sim racing during COVID was a wild time, honestly. They managed to pull off over $2 million of prize money across the 10 tournaments? That's crazy. And the best thing is, that money was not from game sales or anything, because there was no game sales, there was no income from Rennsport, so where did I get that money from? It was probably some oil money, god damn. Rennsport developers about to get invaded by Trump. Rennsport is literally number 75 on all-time prize pool. They're being beaten by iRacing from other sim racing titles, but that's about it, and they only had 10 tournaments, which is crazy. iRacing had at least 10 times the amount of tournaments. And that tournament was not the best. Despite having high viewership, we could already notice that the game is not in the best of state. They literally had like 4 cars available, and I think only 2 circuits that they could race on, which is actually crazy. So they are basically hosting a big ass tournament with insane prize money, and the game is barely in a playable state. They had 4 cars, 2 tracks, no damage model, very basic setup work. This whole situation basically rubbed everyone the wrong way, because no one understood what was the point of hosting that tournament when nobody could play the game. We should be able to play the game and then watch an esports tournament. Everything was just done backwards. We got the big tournament before we got the access to the game. But the game eventually went into open beta, so a lot of people could play it, and after playing so, they realized that there is really nothing in there. There is just no content to bite your teeth into. Oh, and by the way, that open beta was also delayed half a year. And after open beta was released to the public, the players found a similar code to what was used in rFactor 2 and the Rennsport files. And while that whole situation was unresolved and nothing really came of it, it just added to the mistrust of the player base towards Rennsport. And if you're too lazy to look it up, let me just quickly summarize this whole thing for you. So basically, when the players found that similarities in the code, Studio 397, which is the developer for rFactor 2, said that no license had been granted for the rFactor 2 technology, but Rennsport just said that they had used a licensed ISI technology as a baseline, and they used it only in early stages of the game development and were going to replace it later on, but essentially they didn't manage to do that in time before players find out. But here we are in 2026, and Rennsport was actually just really quietly doing their thing, not getting involved in any more drama, unlike some other people. And they just released the game to the public. Full release is out right now on Steam, and as you could expect, it's just a one big money grab. Rennsport's whole business model is just confusing, and it just shows that the only thing they care about is getting your cash. And you may be thinking, oh, but it's free to play on Steam. Well, it is, but you get 2 tracks and 2 cars as basically an incentive to try the game, I guess. But if you want to drive anything else, you have to fork up €49. And that's just for the standard edition. If you want the deluxe edition, which gives you more content, it's €69.99. Nice. And don't even get me started on the liveries. You have to buy their in-game currency for real-life money only to unlock any other livery. Basically, if you buy a standard or deluxe editions, you get a car and it has one livery available to it, like a default livery. And if you want to have anything else on your car, you have to buy it specifically for that car. And you have some real bangers in the game, like animated liveries, who look like shit. They're completely not worth the money, so don't even bother buying that. But if you buy a deluxe edition, you get some free in-game currency that you can spend on those liveries, so whoopee! But at least they're not doing anything with NFT cars. Basically, early in the development of Rennsport, there was a rumor going around that they will have NFT cars in the game with basically their individual EVIN code, which is actually interesting because the EVIN is still in the game, but you just cannot do anything with it. It's just like your personalized code for the car you own. That doesn't really mean anything anymore. So I wonder if that idea was never true or it was, but they scrapped it. But thankfully they are not doing anything with NFTs, so that's a plus. Oh, if you are wondering what happened to those esport tournaments, they're still ongoing, but the viewership is not as it was. So basically they had few thousand of viewers in the beginning of ESL R1. Now, ESL in 2025 dropped Rennsport, so the championship is no longer under ESL banner. And the viewership was really low. So like almost every big company on Twitch nowadays, they decided to start view voting. I remember some time ago I clicked on the Rennsport Championship on Twitch. I was just curious to see how it's going. And there was few thousand people watching, so I was interested. But I noticed that despite them having few thousand of viewers apparently on their Twitch channel, the chat was really dead. They had less chat activity than I do on my streams, and I have 20 viewers. Like and subscribe, by the way. So it was really obvious that they are view botting just to get higher numbers and propel themselves up the Twitch main page. Especially since nowadays there's no more than 100 players playing the game at a given time, so it's kinda impossible for them to have few thousand Twitch viewers and only 100 players in game right now. Rennsport was also present on SimRacing Expo, and we talked to the developers a little bit and they were actually happy with the state of the game.
Stop the cap!
But all in all, the biggest problem with Rennsport is actually lack of content now, and very weird pricing model. If I would compare Rennsport to Project Motor Racing, which I made a video about recently, Rennsport is way better driving wise. When I streamed Rennsport, I actually had some fun, even racing online, despite questionable driving physics sometimes, and despite questionable netcode, it was not as bad as PMR. That's a low bar, I know. And if the developers would actually take the time and refine the product and actually focus on the game and not the money, I think it could be pretty good. But looking back at the history of the game and the development of the game, it seems that they are more focused on profits instead of being focused on the actual gameplay and the enjoyment of the game and adding extra features and maybe changing the pricing model and maybe adding some more content, more of everything basically. It's just another example of a sim racing title that does really nothing for the genre, and it's just a lazy cash grab with nothing really going for it, nothing special that other sims do not provide or do better even. Which is just a shame because, as I said in the PMR video, it just seems like we don't deserve a working finished titles that do something new for the genre nowadays. Like everything now is just incomplete early access or even full release but still incomplete bullshit. I just don't like that. It's just a shame because Rennsport is just yet another title that added no value to the sim racing space, which is a shame. There could have been a nice competition to maybe AMS2, but again, same with PMR, it's just shit. But I added some shareholder value with the liveries, baby. Anyway, that's me done yapping. If you hate Rennsport and hate PMR, leave a like in this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this, or hopefully more positive videos about good sim racing titles, huh? How about that? Can we get some of those? I hope so. Anyway, that's about it. See ya.
So if you're watching this in Saudi Arabia, time to break out your camel.
It's back to carpets for you.